Hey, it's Missy,
It's April.
and this is SheelaNaGig. Hey everybody, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. We always so appreciate you being on with us, joining us. Of course, each week we explore, we present our own SheelaNaGig. To us, that's a woman whose strength and perseverance has led her to greatness, who empowers us, who inspires us. And sometimes it's somebody that you know, that you've heard of, but maybe we have a different story to tell. Maybe we want to add a little bit to it. And then sometimes it's people that you don't know. Yeah, you should know, right? So we're trying to bring these ladies some light. Super excited about that. And we are super excited today because we have some special guests. Special Sheilas. I get very excited when we have special Sheilas on with us. And I'd like everyone to meet Jennifer Kimpe and Jeanne-Marie Hebert, kicking some serious ass in the aperitif world, if you will. Yeah, they actually have created their own aperitif, and they own a amazing aperitif company up in Northern California called Rue De Reve. I like to say it in French. And
By the way, I won't be saying it in French.
my mom dated this guy from France, and then I took care of his kids for years.
That's
and so
right.
I became kind of fluent at that time. And yeah, so now I have my kids make fun of me for saying croissant. I'm like, I have to say croissant. Okay. Anyway, I'm so excited, you guys. Hello. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Yes. We were here. Okay. So we have kind of a special day planned here, a special episode, because we are going to hear from Jennifer and Jeanne-Marie about Rue De Reve, and they're going to tell us all about it. But we're also going to talk a little bit about an amazing Sheela, Madame Clicquot, right? And who was that, gals? Who was Madame Clicquot? Give us a little overview quick.
Well, she's the grande dame of Champagne, known for that as also the first businesswoman in this field, one of the only businesswomen and entrepreneurs of her time. But she's a real inspiration to us in the drink world, but also as entrepreneurs. So we have lots to talk about as far as she's
That's fantastic.
We do, yes. And you ladies are, right behind following her footsteps, which is amazing. So let's just talk a little bit about an aperitif. Like a lot of people say, what is an aperitif, right? So let's talk a little bit about, because I love on your website, it actually says European tradition, California's state of mind. So let's talk a little bit about what an aperitif is, how that statement kind of pertains to your aperitif. Bring it, girls. Let's hear about it.
Okay. Jeanne-Marie, do you want to take it?
Sure. So historically, an aperitif was the drink that you had before you started your meal, because they're typically made with fruit and botanicals, and the botanicals were known to open up your appetite for the evening. So again, that was the historical use for aperitifs. And now that term can range for all kinds of different products. Champagne does classify as an aperitif, but you can also have a wine-based aperitif like ours, which is fortified with a little bit of brandy, and then again, having the fruit and botanicals mixed in as well. So it's sort of just a lovely way to start your evening, but you can also drink it in the middle of the day and into the late night if you want. So that's the history.
The bottle is beautiful too. I may point out that,
Yes.
it just to have it on your table, and it just feels like a celebration. I mean, I think that Rue De Reve makes everything feel like a celebration. I'm going to say, I had the honor of attending one of their tastings at the Barkeeper in Silver Lake, and it was so much fun. It was so great. But let's hear about you. 3 flavors, correct?
Yes. We have 3. We started with rosé, and then we created the Blanc, and then the Rouge was third.
Okay. And what's the difference between the 3?
So there is a through line. They're all wine-based, and they all have a little bit of brandy, but each one has its own dominant fruits and botanicals. So the dominant fruits and botanicals in rosé are strawberry, mint, and rosehip. In Blanc, it's tangerine, elderflower, and then in Rouge, it's orange, cardamom, and gentian root, which is a real seasonal hit. I mean, you can drink it, you could really drink it, and we do. People make beautiful summer spritzes out of it as well. And it also can make a very nice sangria-like drink in the summer, but it is definitely a seasonal flavor with the cardamom and orange right now. It's really festive.
Delicious.
We designed all three of them to go straight over ice. So you can have them as they are, or you can, again, like Jen mentioned, make a spritz, add some bubbles, use them in your favorite cocktails. We have lots of recipes on our website.
I was going to say, I love the recipes on your website. There's so many. I was looking at them again today, and there's just so many. So on that note, I think that we should. April's never tasted it before.
I've never tasted it, and of course, my questions are just mounting up
Yes.
about the two of you and how you got. So, ooh, look at it! Really is an elegant Art Deco, beautiful.
Isn't it just a beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful? Yes, it's a beautiful bottle, and this is the Blanc. This is the Blanc. So
So do
April,
I get to taste?
yeah, you go first because you've never tasted it before. I put a little bit of soda in there because that's what you guys did. I put just like a little touch of soda in there. So give it a
We
try.
can tell you how to drink it, April. Since
Oh,
you
how to
haven't
drink
had it before. No, it's okay. Take a sip.
I did. I cheated, and it's quite lovely. But now tell me
Good.
the correct way.
Okay, and
No,
yeah,
no,
me
no,
too.
no. You're drinking it the correct way. And I think that that's the point is you can drink it right out of the bottle, chilled or over ice, just like that. Or you can add a little soda like Misty did and spritz it a little bit. You can spritz it also in other ways with some sparkling wine, some Prosecco, any kind of soda, sparkling water. So it's really to your liking. I prefer Blanc over ice without soda generally, but every now and then I'll want a little pop of something else. So that's really nice. And then the third way to drink it is to make it into a cocktail. And, that's a broad range.
Right. Like with the
Smell
rosé.
the bouquet. Like it's it's a good what? It's a good like 4 inches from my nose, and I can smell the bouquet. And it's just
Yeah.
The botanicals.
And it has just this light, lovely.
I know, right? Wait,
Yeah,
cheers.
Cheers.
So you were asking about the California state of mind part of
Yes.
that
Mhm.
expression. So when you said, it feels really good, well, we really set out to make it feel light, like light and bright, like California, as opposed to something that was sort of heavy and syrupy. And some aperitifs can start that way and do need to have, something else with it, like soda. But with ours, we wanted you to feel really good when you drank it, to not treat it like it was precious or that you could only have one or a little bit. You can really drink as much as you want. It's 18% alcohol or ABV. So yeah, it's really versatile and light and bright, and we want it to feel more like California.
Love that.
That's great.
I love that. And what is a wine percentage wise alcohol, for instance? If this is 18%, what is the average?
Your
Average
heaviest
wine.
tab would lean towards 17%. So it's just a little notch above because it is fortified with grape spirit, otherwise known as brandy. And that helps the bottle to last. Once you open it, you put it in the refrigerator and you can drink it for months to come.
Wow.
I
And
love
gives it a little kick.
And or finish it in one night with a couple of friends.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Right? Why not? This is great. This is great. And do you guys ever do like tastings at people's houses where you offer a tasting and people can come and do that? Because I think you should do that if you don't already.
I
Do you
just
do that?
hosted one a couple of weeks ago for a friend of mine that had a group of work friends there.
Yeah.
And at the end of their work session, I came in and did a tasting. And then we also, because they're coaches,
Yeah.
we read and we do this quite a bit. We share dream quotes because Rue De Reve translates to Dream Street, and dream is a really big part of our positioning and everything we believe in and realizing your dreams. So we gave all of that, the entire group, they all had different dream quotes and we read them and talked about them. And
How
Yeah, so-
lovely.
it was really sweet.
That
Yeah.
sounds amazing. Well, yeah, we want to host your next tasting here in LA.
But Missy, I want to back up a little bit,
Okay.
if that's okay, because I'm wondering how the two of you met and got started and how this vision came to existence.
Do you want me to take this one?
Yeah, sure.
So Jen and I were neighbors almost 20 years ago. And it was when we were first starting our families and having kids. And then over the years, we became wonderful friends and we would take a girls' trip every year to, we've been all over the US and aspire to go farther and wider, but we just enjoy time together. And as our kids were grown and flying off, we decided that it was time for a new chapter. And I'd been supporting my husband's business for 20 years. Jen had always been supporting other businesses with her brand marketing work. And so we both had a real desire to put our own stamp on something and call it ours. And we did a lot of research and development to come up with this idea and concept and realize there's a huge white space in the market for an American-made aperitif, let alone a California-made aperitif. And so we really wanted to bring something to life that was made here in California, but give a nod to the European tradition. And there really wasn't anything out there like what we've created. So it took us several years, but here we are. We're in bottle, we're in market. It's great.
April was with a friend of ours the other night.
And she mentioned your aperitif and she said, oh, I'm going to Savannah, I'm going to have this. I was like, wait a minute. No, I'm interviewing with Missy.
You're kidding. We love to hear that.
Podcast. And
how did she find out about us?
I should have asked. I was so excited. I started doing all the talking.
Yeah, she's an amazing woman lawyer. She does like elder abuse, and she's amazing. She's a Sheila in her own right. Yeah,
an amazing attorney, and she has a very vast network. I'm going to have to.
She runs in some circles for sure. So she always knows like the best wine, the best this, the best that. She always does. So I'm not surprised that Susan brought that up. It's kind of funny. Yeah.
Love to hear that. That's probably our most favorite thing right now is when, we hear that the product's being enjoyed by somebody that's very far removed from us, right? Yeah. So it's starting to show up and be shared, through all kinds of people that we don't know anymore. And it started out, we would serve it to our friends and our family, and then they would tell their friends and family. But now it's a lot of people beyond us taking on its own life, and that's so rewarding.
Yeah. That's so exciting.
The most fun.
What's that?
It's the most fun part.
I bet. Yeah. I think one of the things that I find most intriguing was how intentional the two of you were in developing a very specific product. I know you said it took a long time. How long did it take to develop?
So it took us 3 years of research and development. And we went through a lot of, I wouldn't say trials and tribulations. It was mostly research and then figuring out who our partners were. We needed a wine partner. We needed to find a place to produce. There were a lot of elements that needed to come together to make it work. So it took us about 3 years to get through that process from the day we dreamt it up, which was on our 50th birthday road trip.
So cool that it was on your 50th birthday road trip. And what were you guys like on the coast? Where were you driving?
We were supposed to go to Ireland. That was our plan, but it turns out that it was the heart of the pandemic. So we obviously couldn't go there. And it was so much so the heart of the pandemic that we really couldn't socialize much either. So the two of us, and we decided we're not staying home. We had spent lots of birthdays together traveling. We will travel. So we just went up and down the California coast and we had a lot of time together. But it was really, really nice. Like a lot of those moments in the pandemic, that were really nice, where you got to think and have some space and be out in nature. And we kept talking and talking and talking and throwing out, different topics to talk about and dreaming really big. And one of the topics was, what do you want to do after the pandemic lifts and our kids go off to college? Is there something else? That's what started this conversation about what's next.
So cool.
And how did that morph into starting this company?
That's a really good question. We put everything together in terms of our interest. We really didn't set out to say, oh, we want to create a business together. We were both just individually dreaming what's next. And so we were saying, here's the things I'd like to do and all the things. Well, Jeanne-Marie and I have a lot of the same interest, and it kept coming back to we kind of wanted to do something along the same lines in terms of what the spirit of it was, like something that we would really enjoy, that would be something that would bring new life and would connect us with people, and that we would be really social and fabulous and do all these great things that we, want to continue to do. So that was sort of mutual. The difference was looking at our backgrounds and the things we're good at and what we bring to the table. I've been in alcohol marketing for quite a while, so that was one of the things that we considered. And at one point when we were talking about all of it, we talked about that we like to, travel, and we love design, and we love drinking food, and all of that kind of came together for the two of us. And we just looked at each other and said, do you want to do this together? And that was really sweet. But then it was figuring out, okay, what is it? We still didn't know. We knew the spirit of it, and we knew how we wanted to feel as, what this next adventure might look like. But it took us a little while, a few months, I think, before we decided exactly what we wanted to do. And once we decided, we didn't veer from that.
Right. I love that you knew the spirit of it. Yeah. And I know what that means. Like, I think that we experienced that a little bit too when we were working together. Like, we knew the spirit of it, but where were we going to land? What were we going to do together? Yeah. I totally get that. I love that.
Perfectly melded all of our interests into one bottle, basically. We wanted it to be high style. We wanted it to be something that people look at on a shelf and say, oh my gosh, what is that? And then we wanted it to taste like something that we could not find out on the market. And we wanted to have all of that community building around it and sharing it and enjoying it. And I feel like, we really landed on it, and we're really, really, really proud of what we've made.
You should be. Yeah. In fact, why don't you share some of your awards with us, which are some of your accolades here? There's many. So yeah, share.
I think we're most proud of the fact that our Rouge, which Jen described earlier as our most seasonal, which it can play throughout the year too, it won Best Aperitif at the LA Spirits Award, which was the highest honor.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Fantastic. And then also won Best of Show at the Sunset International Wine Competition, and gold medals at the San Francisco International World Spirits Competition. It's gotten really wonderful trade feedback as well as phenomenal consumer feedback. Every time people try it, we're always surprised. We thought we would have a demographic which would be like us. We thought it was going to be us. But then when we go out into the world and we serve it, it's like the older man who loves the rosé and can't stop drinking it and comes back for 5.
Right.
And or the kids that are, just graduated college, and you think that that's not something they're going to want to enjoy, but they are absolutely loving it. And it just really appeals to a large demographic, which is also really rewarding.
Broad appeal. It's awesome. Yeah. And I can see why. It's so drinkable.
It's delicious.
I know. I could drink this entire bottle, and we might just drink this entire bottle right now.
Considering we've gone through the better part of this glass.
Right. In fact, I think it's time to refill her glass for sure.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, I've known Jennifer for a long time. We are both from Detroit, which is exciting. Can you hear me pouring that? Does that sound good?
That's great.
Yeah, we're both from Detroit, and then we reconnected, not knowing that each other lived in LA. Like, we didn't really know each other, right, Jen? We knew. Right. Yeah, we knew. You had a friend. What was his name?
Jeff?
No, you had a friend though.
Oh, Greg.
Greg.
I had a friend named Greg.
Yeah.
Who was, I wouldn't say obsessed, but certainly a fan of Missy, who was and is still a rock star. But
thank you. That's so nice.
An incredible musician and performer. And he used to take me to see Missy's shows. His steadfast gaze, he was a fan. And so that's how I learned of Missy. And she was kind of in another world there. I didn't think Missy and I were going to be great friends. I just wanted to see her play live, right? The gift was when we became friends. And that was seeing her.
It's true.
In LA. Yeah.
It's true because I ran into her ex and they had moved out to LA together and we just started talking and he was from Detroit. He said, my girlfriend and I moved out. I said, oh, wow, I'm from Detroit. We started talking, exchanged phone numbers and and then it was a little while, but Jen ended up coming to a show and it was just so cool that we got
the basement of the Viper Room, right?
Yeah, that's right. The Crooked Bar, the old Crooked
Bar. And Missy held court there, and my mind was blown. Yeah, you're talented.
You're so sweet. It was like I love playing at that place because it was kind of intimate and creepy and cool. And
right.
There's not too many basements in LA, so that was kind of exciting. But
now it's kind of time to return the favor because our minds are blown.
Yeah, it's right. Our minds are blown.
You're the rock star.
Yeah, you guys are totally the Sheela rock stars. And is there anything else you want to tell us a little bit about the company or about anything you want to share? Anything coming up that's exciting?
Our new news is that we have produced 375 milliliter bottles, so mini bottles, half bottles. They're adorable. They're fresh. We just produced them, so they taste incredible. They look so cute, and we're selling them in a 3-pack gift set, and then also single bottles. They're great for stocking stuffers and all of that. But this year, that's sort of our new news in terms of like a new format that's really fun and versatile, and you can take it anywhere. You could take it on a picnic. You could take it to a hotel. You can, and just kind of anywhere you want. It's fun.
I love that idea. I love that idea because I snuck a giant bottle of it into, what is it called? They have those things you can go to a hotel and like hang out at the pool.
Oh, yeah.
Like resort pass. Oh, yeah. So I did resort pass with my friend Gina for her birthday. And we went and I just snuck a giant bottle and we were just drinking it poolside. It was fantastic. But I think it would have been a little easier to maybe sneak in the smaller bottles,
Well, you'd probably run out. It's a smaller size. You'd probably run out, but it's fun.
Sampler.
And cute. And it's great to sample all three.
It's a perfect holiday gift, everybody.
I was just thinking exactly.
Okay, are you listening? Are you listening, folks? Because you can get this amazing little 3-pack of the Rue De Reve, and you'll look very refined and accomplished and cosmopolitan, and your friend will be really happy, or whoever you give it to. And then, I think you should definitely. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to look at. Like April said, very Art Deco, right? I'm assuming the bottles are similar, right? Can I ask how much that retails for?
The 3-pack.
Yeah.
65.
Okay.
That's, and you can only find the mini bottles on our website.
Okay.
The website URL is
RueDeReveAperitifs.com. Which
for people who are not as sophisticated as Missy in enunciating in the French vocabulary and understanding, can you spell that?
Sure. RueDeReveAperitifs.com. It's long. RueDeReveAperitifs.com.
Rue De Reve. Yep. So go there. Pick up some gifts
for a really novel, wonderful Christmas surprise.
Yes, absolutely.
New, something different.
Yeah.
It's delicious. All three.
Where can people buy Rue De Reve? Like, I mean, I know that it's a little bit independent. So depending, might be a different. There's places in LA that carry it. I know, but we have listeners from everywhere. Is there? I'm assuming the best way to get it is probably your website in terms of like.
Well, anybody can get it on our website.
Right.
And then we also have distribution throughout California at retail restaurants. So look for it. If it's not at your local independent store where you like to purchase your spirits or wine, ask for it. But yeah, you can find it, and we're making our way. We're still only 2 years in, so we're making our way and showing up at more retail and restaurants throughout California. Yes. And then after that, our goal is to be national. But no matter where you live in the United States, you can order it online.
You can also use our website feature, find us, and type in your zip code, and it will show you the restaurants and retailers that are in your area.
Oh,
Wow.
that's what you should do.
That's wonderful. And so how did that part happen where you have restaurants and commercial distributors promoting or selling your product? Is that just still the two of you, or did you have to bring on some consultants?
Well, we have a distributor right now, but you always start out selling yourself, and then you never stop selling yourself. And any producer will tell you the same. You're always out selling, and you're always out meeting. We're selling to people who care, right? If you're selling to a restaurant, serving it to their guest. If you're selling it to an independent retailer, they're selling it to their guests. They really want to know, and it's nice for them to meet the founders and to taste together. And so we will always be out selling. That won't ever stop. But we do have a distributor, and that's part of the business. You have a distributor that helps you get it out there.
I love that. Yeah.
So I have to ask, what was the hardest and scariest part of launching all this?
There were so many parts.
The stalkers. The stalkers.
Yeah.
I would say one of our first immediate challenges was this drink has both a wine component and a spirit component. And we are still operating on prohibition laws out there, in case anyone's not aware of that. But we're operating by really, really old rules and regulations. So we went to winemakers in the beginning to say, hey, could you make this for us? And they said, oh, no, we could do the wine part. We can't touch spirits. We'd go to a distiller and say, can you make this for us? And they say, oh, no, we can work with the spirit, but we can't work with the wine. Like, they're still relegated by their licensing. And it took a while to find the right production facility that owned both licenses that could use both components of the drink.
That's interesting. How did you find them?
Online, I believe we found them, but they're actually very well known at the moment for making a lot of products for a lot of different suppliers and producers out there, because they do have all the licensing necessary.
Pushing the envelope. We like them. Yeah.
So that was really our big first hurdle, I would say, Jen, don't you think? And, it took us a while to overcome that.
I will say we have hurdles every day, and it's true. We're just so used to it now.
Yeah.
And some are really monumental, and some are just like the day-to-day challenge. But we've had a number of monumental ones that, could really stump you. And I'm sure that this is true in any entrepreneurship, right?
Right.
I would say that we've had our fair share. And I think what we've learned is that we're good problem solvers, and we just don't let somebody get us down. And it's not just a person. I'm using that as a euphemism, but like, we just don't let it get us down.
Being the Sheelas that we are, ladies, we know that we can overcome anything and accomplish anything we set our minds to.
Yeah, and we've proven it, and I think that helps us with the next one.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a next one.
There's always going to be a next challenge. It's true. That's a good way to look at it. Just, be prepared for sure.
And I also want to go back to the Sheela comment for a second, because in this, doing our research and development and digging into this project, we did a ton of, reaching out to people and asking for just to meet with them, to learn from them. And the women always showed up, and the women always were the first to give us all the time they had and to connect us and do, the most major networking. And it's still to this day, it's the ladies that are really showing up for us across.
They also say, you can do this.
Yeah.
And they don't start with warnings. And we recognize that in almost every conversation we had with women.
Isn't that
a great point? I love that. That is, and I think you're right. I think that's
it's not surprising, but it is so wonderful to hear. And I'm so grateful that you shared that.
That's super cool. That's
really an important ethos for our business too.
Yeah.
Of just knowing who we want to align with, and it's very apparent.
Right. Right. So who has a higher tolerance? Who gets drunk more easy?
Oh, Jen has a higher tolerance. She's from Detroit.
I have a Detroit.
You said she's from Detroit.
I know this about her, so I was going to think if you said you, Jeanne-Marie, I was going to be like, wow, because I know Jen can drink
with her Midwest liver.
It is the Midwest liver, although I don't think I really have the Midwest liver. Jen and I had experience where I got kicked out of a bar one time. I was with her. And we had gone to like a champagne tasting. We had gone to, right? Was it a champagne tasting?
I think so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we went out and drank some beer. I don't know. And we ended up at this club, the Silver Lake Lounge to be exact, for whoever's listening.
Missy's picture is in the back room. Do not let her in.
The big like red X through my face. And what happened, Jen? What happened that night? Do you remember? I mean, she remembers because I really don't.
I remember very well, and I don't know how much you want me to tell it. It was, for me, a lot of fun. And it's not like, well, and also you didn't do anything bad, but I have to say that we giggled our heads off and Missy let loose in a way I've never seen her before.
Well, Jen told me that night she was moving to Northern California.
You were very emotional.
So I was very emotional and I was drinking and I was super sad. And yeah, there was a lot of emotion going on for sure. But then, yeah. And I ended up, the guy who was at the bar, and he shall remain nameless, but apparently he was from Detroit, and we were kind of asking him questions about Detroit, but he didn't really know anything. So I started saying, like, what are you, some kind of fucking poser? You don't know anything about Detroit? Like, I got really annoyed with him. But then at some point, I thought he was kind of cute too. Now, this is before I was married, and this is like, over 20 years ago, whatever. And I kept going between, like, I wanted to kick his ass, and I thought he was kind of cute. So I think I went kind of between, like, trying to kick his ass and maybe trying to, like, straddle him.
Right. I didn't know what you were up to. I couldn't figure it out because it was, yeah.
Yeah, and then they came up to Jen. I think Jen told me they came up to her and they were like, your friend has to leave. Like, you have to get your friend out of here, like now, or we're going to call the police.
So Missy, we're trying to promote this wonderful, elevated experience.
Our listeners always say that they really like it when we share personal stories. So there's no reason we can't share a little personal story, because it is fucking funny as shit. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. It was really funny. It was so funny. I was very hungover, but in retrospect, it was very funny, Jen. It was very funny, and I'm glad to have shared that with you. But we do have a lot to talk about. We do have a lot to talk about, because we are going to talk about, who are we going to talk about today, gals? Tell us. What Sheela are you? What Sheela are you going to
Clicquot. Yeah, so tell us how.
Madame Clicquot Ponsardon, right? Doesn't she have Ponsardon in the end or something, right?
I think it might have even been her maiden name, I think.
Is that what it was?
Her real name is Barb Nicole, right?
Okay.
And I don't know, give that a French twist, but in the film they called her Barb.
Okay. In the film, you saw the film.
I saw them.
I did. Are you a film researcher?
Am I a researcher? I
said, are you a film researcher?
Oh, no.
Because I always I won't let myself watch, like if I'm doing a Sheela, I won't let myself watch the film until after I've done the Sheela.
Yeah. Wow. Because that's your question.
Yeah. So that's why I was saying, some people are just the opposite. They want to see the film before they present. So I'm just curious.
I took that route. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Well, and I saw the film when it came out.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So bring it, girls. Let's hear all about this Sheela. I am super excited because we did, like, on her birthday, I think we just did like a little, hey, it's her birthday and this is who she was, but we never have explored her. So this is perfect that you're bringing her to light today. I'm very excited.
Yeah. Right. So I didn't know, and I don't know if Jeanne-Marie did either, this much about her until we saw the film, and then we dug into her. What we do know, and what we always felt, was that Madame Clicquot is a very much an inspiration to us, and we knew of her and about her, right? But not to the level that we know now. So I think the film did help, and then after that, there was a lot of reading and kind of getting the inside scoop. But she was married at 21 and then widowed by 27.
Wow.
So she married the Francois Clicquot, who really was running the, champagne house at the time, right? He worked for his father, but he wasn't running the vineyards and really in charge of everything. We're not really sure. The film kind of leans to that he had a little, some mental demons, but then also got typhoid fever. And so that contributed to some of the things that ended up, ending his life.
Okay. And what year is this?
Well, she was born December 16th. So that's a Sagittarius.
Sag.
1777.
Whoa.
Wow.
Okay.
And then she lived until she was 89. And that was 8.
It was unheard of in those days. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right.
It's all that champagne she drank, I'm sure.
Right? It's good for you.
Right?
Well, she also had something to live for. I think like the film sort of led you to believe that it really gave her life.
Yeah.
And that she was incredibly smart, but more so she was intuitive. And, she didn't know how to run a business, much less a vineyard and growing grapes and making champagne. But she learned and she just rested on her laurels in terms of if it wasn't high quality enough for her, she wasn't going to settle. Or if she had a new idea, or if someone tried to kick her out of that position, she really held strong and fought for it. And a lot of that had to do with honoring her husband. And then after that, it was her life's mission. And she ended up, starting this iconic business and brand that still all of the champagne houses look up to.
Yep. And she was innovative as well. She came up with the concept of riddling, which is turning the bottles so that they could get rid of the sediment in the aging process so that it was a really beautiful, clean, bubbly experience. And that's a technology that all sparkling wine and champagne producers still use today. So she was an innovator.
Riddling table. Did she invent the riddling table? What is a riddling table? Can you explain that a little bit?
I don't know if I have the expertise to explain the riddling table, but I do know that it involves letting the bottles settle and turning them so that they can sort of get the sediment to a point where they can take it out of the bottle, yet keep the more beautiful product intact.
Yeah, and you've probably seen pictures of it where it's a piece of wood
in
its rudimentary state, and the bottles can be turned, and they can be turned down so that the sediment settles. But they use that where they put the bottles in to be able to turn them on a regular basis.
Wow. Okay.
And they still use that, to Jeanne-Marie's point, today.
Mm-hmm.
And she came up with that.
Right.
Wow.
Whenever there was a problem or a challenge or anything, she came up with the solution.
Yeah.
What? Did she have children?
She had one child. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Girl that, there are a lot of things in the film that I don't know if they're sensationalized or the truth, but there were a lot of very emotional scenes with the daughter where maybe, they wanted to take the daughter away from her because she was living an unconventional life that maybe wasn't great for a kid. And, when you think about it now, we're all working mothers and we're all, right? But that at the time, I think, was an issue. And her mom said, this isn't for a child. And she did end up, I think, she stayed close to her daughter from what we can tell, but she did let her go, with the grandparents while she held down the fort at the vineyard.
Well, this is the thing. We just did an episode recently about Lena Walker, right? Lena Walker.
Yeah.
And as soon as she, she was working, and then as soon as she had a child, she was against the law for her.
She was a teacher and
couldn't work anymore because she had a child.
She got married. She didn't even have the children yet. And she had to immediately resign because it was presumed she was going to be a mother, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that was pretty common, actually, which is
unfortunate,
which is very sad. And there's something too about, did she invent rosé or what was that?
Yeah, she was the first one to make a sparkling rosé.
A sparkling rosé.
She was
Okay.
figuring out what to do with their Pinot.
Okay.
Leaving the skins on was a way to bring out the flavor. Like she experimented. Again, this is a practice that is, still around today. And sparkling rosé is an incredible part of the champagne line. And that was her saying, what do I do with it? And she experimented and realized it was beautiful and people would want to drink it.
Wow. I love her. She was just such a pioneer, right? And I mean, so the Viv is still available today, right? Like that Clicquot Viv is still available today.
Very much so.
Still
And
the
they're,
same.
yeah,
Look at it. She's got it right there in the bottle.
Although it's owned by a bigger corporation, their messaging is still amazing and they honor women every day. And, they have organizations where they celebrate different women that are doing amazing things in the world and still really hold true to celebrating women.
Wonderful.
I love that. And I mean, are there other women that we should know about kind of in this world of champagne and wine? And are there some other favorite women that you guys know of or companies that are women owned that you would like to give a little light to?
Maybe we'll talk about some of our local friends that have
we love
supported
that.
us and partnered with us.
Yeah, bring that.
Yeah. So, and I'll say it because I know it's on Jeanne-Marie's mind too, is Jen Pelka, who leads Une Femme Wines. What's funny about this and the connection is she also started a wine bar in San Francisco called the Riddler. And I'm sure that was a nod.
Yep. Nice. Yeah.
Madame
Riddling table.
Right?
Yeah.
But she has become, an incredible icon also in the business and creating champagne and also now still wines in a can at very high quality. And we have been collaborating with her. But I think more than anything, we would say she's just really accessible and a real supporter of what we're doing and very open to partnering. And we're very grateful for that.
That's amazing. How long has she been doing that? Do you know?
She's had Une Femme for 5 years.
Yeah.
She owned the Riddler prior to that. She had a location in San Francisco and one in New York City, but wound that down after the pandemic as well, and then built her own brand because women would come into the Riddler asking for a female-led sparkling wine or champagne, and it just kept happening over and over again to her. And she said, we really need women to make these products. So
yes,
yeah,
yes. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. We went to a women-owned tasting room. Do you remember we went to that wine tasting?
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty interesting. And it was a woman-owned tasting room, and she was trying to have, women-based wines, women-created wines, which was pretty cool. It was lovely. Oh, we should tell you about that. Where is it again? It's in the valley somewhere. We'll give you the information.
Yeah.
That might be a good person to reach out to as well, for sure.
Right.
And what we're seeing is that
what's that?
The industry is changing.
Is it?
Yes.
Tell us.
Still male dominated, if you look at the big picture, but there are a lot of female producers, and they're amazing. And then there are a lot of female restaurateurs and, bottle shop owners, and us going out and interacting with the trade and showing up at restaurants and retail. There are a lot of female owners, and they know their customers. They go about it a little bit differently. And one of the things I was thinking about in terms of Madame Clicquot was that she was really adamant about running the business like a woman. And I know we talk about this all the time, but to see her back then just say, no, I'm going to listen to my team and I want to take away hierarchy. And it was very unheard of and not really, it was kind of frowned upon when she would say that, but that's how she insisted on running it. And we're out there and we're seeing the same thing. These amazing women in high positions doing really cool things, but they're not thinking about hierarchy or anything. They're very interested in us. very respectful and want to share like a young producer's product. So it's just been really refreshing and nice. And this is nothing against men. We're just pointing what we're seeing about women that really been remarkable.
It's great. I love that you're sharing that aspect for sure.
I'm wondering, when you think about her and how she inspired your business, was it more the way her principles and scruples running the business, or her pioneering of the wine and the rosé, or was it a combination? What was it that each of you really connected to?
I would say both, because in that time period, women historically would not have taken over their husband's profession and business. It was really, something unique that she really got her hands dirty and went out there into the vineyards and continued to produce and learn the business and make it her own. So I think that's what's most
style as a something that she put as a value. And we put style as a value as well. And so quality was probably the first thing, and it always is for us, is, for sure. If the drink isn't everything we want it to be, and we want everyone to enjoy, then, you don't have anything. But beyond quality, it's okay for it to have style. It's awesome for it to have style. And she did that. She started to, put little ribbons on the champagne bottles when they went out and traveled to Amsterdam to give them a little something, something. She came up with like the yellow color, all these things that are actually really special that make the whole experience better. There's a lot of great drinks out there, but when you put the whole experience together and you give it a little style and you make it special, I think it makes it better for everybody.
She's also known for using the comet as an icon to identify a specific vintage that she made that she was so proud of. And that's like the early days of brand marketing, where she put this on the bottles and people knew that was the one, and that's what they should be purchasing and buying. And again, super innovative.
Yes.
That's a really fun story to tell, is about the comet. Can we share that?
Yes, please. Please.
If we're talking about her, this is a really fun thing. The comet, I think, was 267 days or something that it was visible in France when she was really struggling. But it made this particular vintage, and they attribute a lot of it to the comet. This particular vintage during that year was incredible, which was why she created the first vintage champagne.
Okay.
She didn't blend it. It was all from that year. But to Jeanne-Marie's point, she recognized the magic in that.
Yeah.
And then she etched it into the cork, right? Like those kinds of things we also take a lot of inspiration from. I'm a brand marketer. Jeanne-Marie and I are big consumers of things that we love, that do things that are extra special like that.
Yeah.
We did that way back then. And it's, stuff that we try to do, and with our iconography and, all the things that we tried to add a little special touch, our signature mint color, our, sparkles.
I love that. That's so cool. It is so signature. I mean, the bottles doesn't look like any other bottle I've ever seen before. And, what you're doing, I think, is very niche, very unique. And the flavor too. It's just so unique, right?
And really delightful. Yeah.
We're
I can
so
see
glad
why
you're
it would
enjoying
have
it.
broad
We're
appeal.
so glad.
What made you decide, by the way, to put that little splash of brandy in there? Just so that it would last longer? Was that kind of the inspiration for that? Obviously, Jen, you've worked in wine. What made you think let's make it a little bit different?
I can speak to it, or Jeanne-Marie can.
You can speak to it, Jen. Go ahead.
Both of us know that aperitifs are really it's a broad umbrella, right? But adding spirits into aperitifs, or you can have a wine-based aperitif, you can have a spirit-based aperitif, or you can blend. But having just a little kick of a spirit makes an aperitif something, I think, that starts the evening out a little bit differently. It tastes different. It's not just wine.
Right.
So we wanted to add a little something beyond the wine. And then, of course, fruit and botanicals are very typical in aperitifs. So then we added them second. But it's not unusual to add a spirit for an aperitif.
I mean, it's interesting because I am not a brandy fan. Like I have never really enjoyed brandy too much, but it's so subtle. I would never guess this had brandy in it.
Yeah, it's a neutral grape spirit. So it hasn't been aged. It's very clear. It's very pure. So it's not meant to add so much as flavor as just sort of the fortification to the drink.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't really taste any aged brandy in there because again, it's a real neutral spirit.
Yeah, just adds a little warmth, I'm going to say. A little bit of warmth for sure. Right?
So we think that's why men like it so much.
Right.
Interesting.
When they say they'll pass on the rosé and then they taste it, we're like, oh yeah, it's not the rosé you think it is.
So what's the favorite amongst people? And do you see a difference between like men tend to like this and women tend to like this? I'm just curious.
So it's everybody likes something different and maybe on a different day, right? They loved the rosé when it first came out. It was the biggest hit ever. And then the critics' darling, where we got all the top awards, was Rouge. And then you talk to people about Blanc, and that's like their everyday go-to. So I would say, they all have their own place. The big surprise is how much men like the rosé.
That's something.
Okay.
Right? The whole line, I think, is gender neutral, right?
Gender neutral line, yes.
And also age. It doesn't fall into like a demographic.
Yeah.
It's more of a lifestyle or a psychographic. It's people who are really excited to celebrate a moment. They understand the spirit of the brand. We're saying take time out to dream. Dream Street is something that we talk to people about a lot. And what does Dream Street mean? And to us, we know what it means to us as a brand, but it really should be ownable by you, right?
Right.
But Dream Street is something that anybody can say, like, my vision of Dream Street is some this or that. And for us, it's like taking that time every day to have a moment. You daydream, right? But doing it as a ritual, the Europeans enjoy aperitifs as a ritual. And it's just that slowing down moment, that giving yourself time to transition, enjoy friends' company. You can do this alone or with friends. It really doesn't matter, but it is a moment.
Yeah.
I would say even if you're alone, but enjoying moments more intentionally is what we wanted.
Enjoying moments more intentionally. I like that. Yeah. That really speaks to this aperitif for sure. I love that.
And we're really proud that all of our product is made in Sonoma County and sourced from Northern California. We get our wine from Sonoma. All the other components as well come from California. So we're proudly California made. And
I love that.
We wanted to give that California ethos too, where it's a little more, European aperitifs seem maybe not as approachable, but we really wanted this to be something that people could use however they want. Make it your own. It's, easy, light, bright.
Have fun with it.
Have fun with it. Approachable for sure.
Right. I love that you define this niche, that this unmet, non-existent opportunity. And clearly you nailed it. I mean, your business is growing. The product is wonderful. It's award winning. You're Sheelas.
You truly are. And we want to have a wine tasting with you here in LA. We'll invite everybody.
Yes.
We could even do like a live. We could do like a live podcast. A live podcast with a tasting. Wouldn't that be amazing? Let's do it.
Missy's had this vision to have this live podcast where people come in and tell their Sheela grandma stories. And I think if we pair this with your aperitif, it will give people the courage.
Oh, the courage.
A little lubrication to stand up and tell their stories.
So, I think that's kind of a good idea. I like that. I like that.
Salute and cheer and
just like we're saluting.
A few years ago, absolutely. Cheers. A few years ago, I won like some kind of raffle thing. I won a mezcal tasting, and it was an amazing experience. I went a mezcal tasting for 6, and this woman named Rosario came over to my house, and I had 5 of my girlfriends.
I was there.
You were there.
Yeah.
And she brought mezcal from, whatever she thought was the finest mezcal. And we got to learn about her. Her family had been making mezcal for centuries, like in the back, in Mexico, underground, like for centuries. And then when she became a young adult, she opened her own mezcal bar in Mexico. And she was so proud of it. And then the cartel took over and she had to give them everything. So she basically kind of escaped. She left everything. She came to the US. She was like, what can I do? And she thought, you know what? I'm going to spread the word of mezcal. That's what I want to do. I want to share mezcal with everybody. So it was very interesting in the tasting because she had, I think, 5 different ones and we tasted them. And I think 3 out of 5 were women-owned mezcal companies, which was very interesting. But I still remember my favorite part is we were all sitting there and she goes, okay, we do not drink the mezcal, we kiss the mezcal. And we were all sitting there and we're all like, okay, we kiss.
How do we kiss?
We kiss the mezcal, right? But I have to say, it was an absolute, we all agreed it was a spiritual experience. Like it was such a special night and it was so interesting. And so my brain, of course, is going like, we do this with Rue De Reve. We need to like have this, this tasting, this whole, I'm sorry, this is just me. I get
to come in with this incredible ritual.
And then you're going to say, you do not drink the Rue De Reve. You kiss the Rue De Reve.
There was a restaurant in LA. Do you remember that? It was like the chicken was born in the sauce.
Yes.
Born.
It's not hot. It's spicy. It's not hot. It's spicy. What was that place? It was
the Gardens of Tosco.
You remember it?
I
yes.
do.
Where it was born.
I never thought she lives in Santa Clarita. How did you know the Garden of Tosco?
You always underestimate.
Tosco. I do underestimate.
That's funny.
The Gardens of Tosco. We went there all the time, Jen. Remember?
Yeah, because we lived there.
It was so good. And they closed after the pandemic. It was so sad. But that was, it used to crack me up. Like, this is not hot. It's spicy. This is like,
you would drag it out. Spicy.
Yes. Oh my God. I love that
experience.
Unfortunately, the one thing listeners can't do is taste. And if you would taste this aperitif, you would be all in.
If you live in LA, that's the thing. You can come taste.
Yes,
that's what's going to be amazing. And maybe we'll do a Zoom episode so that people can at least experience, being there and feeling the vibe,
Once again, your website is
Rue De Reve aperitifs.com. RudeReveApertifs.com.
Love that.
I'm
really happy. I've been drinking this and I do feel a little happy. I just feel happy.
That's our hope, is that it makes you feel happy.
You feel happy?
I feel delightful.
Don't make you feel happy. This one should hopefully always make you feel a little lighter and brighter and just,
Absolutely. And you two lovely ladies have also made us lighter and brighter because our Sheelas are women who undertake a challenge. They don't give up and they pull it off with grace. And I love all of the sharing that you did about the generosity of other women in this industry and elevating this industry and creating a better place for women to participate.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you so much for having us.
I know. Thank you for having us. I have a quote from the movie that might be fun.
Oh, let's bring it.
Oh, yes.
Let's do it.
That I really loved as it related to creating. I think that this is the opening quote from the Widow Clicquot movie. Okay. And this is what she said. She says, looking back on that first day with you, and she's referring to her husband, I think I understood why human beings are compelled to create, why we must find some way to lay down our lives however best we can. I thought that was really motivating and
beautiful and motivating and so relevant. I love that. It's great. That's a great quote. Yes, we're glad that you're leaving us with that. This has been so fun too.
Thank
Just
you.
like hanging out,
So
drinking
fun.
some delicious
Great to see you
Rue De
both.
Reve aperitif. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and thanks to Jennifer and Jeanne-Marie for being with us today. Thank you to our listeners. We are so delighted. We are so honored that you're here listening, taking part. Please send us your questions. If you have questions for Jennifer and Jeanne-Marie, please send them our way. If you have questions for the SheelaNaGig podcast, send them our way. Thank you for listening. Just trying to give some light and fight the fight. That's what we keep saying, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Until next time. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Unabashed in your glory.